Hello YouTube, this is Dr. Rod Wade coming back to you with another video. In my last video with what Gym Pack's about, I mentioned about the different dragons that I thought were top tier. I want to make this video a little bit more focused on some of my other ones because I could talk all day about the different dragons. This is what I really enjoy about the game. But let's start off. I don't want to do legendaries first. I want to build the legendaries up a little bit. Let's talk about some of the uncommons are actually okay too, in my opinion, for what they're supposed to do. They do it well. So the kind of, before I even say anything, there's no dragon in my opinion that's like true trash once you get to the epic and legendary level, like don't use it type trash. I think some epics you have to build the team around the epic, or you gotta have somebody special or in particular to help them out. So like there's definitely, I think, different tiers, and maybe as the game develops more and I get more understanding and get a lot more dragons, I can get that tier list together and tell you which ones I think are in what tier, this tier, that tier. You don't want to have a whole spreadsheet and shit like that. But man, let's go to uncommon. I gotta give some honorable mentions because y'all be trying to shit on the uncommons. The first dude that's actually okay is right here, Freezy. You know, he has a seal which can stop you from using your second and third ability 40%. I'm not gonna lie, some of the legendaries aren't even that good without though. No, almost most dragons aren't good without their second or third ability. So it ain't bad. You know, and for the damage that it deals, it's not bad either if you look at the percentage of the stats. And then the freeze, the 20% chance to freeze. He's like basically a mini Rennie or whatever you say, you know, the guy that everybody hates that stuns everything. You know, he really is okay. And, you know, obviously, you know, he's an uncommon, so you know, gotta get some stars on him, but I will use I'm gonna start using him, you know, proof is in the pudding. Use this guy, star him up to like three stars. You know, it takes a minute, but he's quick. Obviously, he's an uncommon. He's quick. Use him, see what happens. He's not bad. I promise you, he's not bad. You'll be surprised at how much he'll stun some shit. Get the right shards, you know, not shards. Get the right brands. Get the fucking skiff on them, and you know, get the effective hit, and you'll see him put in some work. Most of the guys at the uncommon are support, because obviously there's people that do more damage. This guy, Mobula, he's okay. I like him. Supposed to be kind of a tank type, but he does have increased crit. I think he's the only uncommon and the only rare, I think, too, that can do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's a legendary that can Dark Star. He can increase the crit. Boom, right there, increases crit by 10%. For some people, if you have a very high crit based team, that's legit. And he has a disarm that stops, you know, the 4 set brand, the 4 set bonus on brands. You know, that's debatable because not everybody runs, you know, 4 sets. Most people just do 2, 2, 2. Some people do 2, 4. Some people don't even do their brands right, so that's debatable. But healing, crit, star him up. Obviously, he's uncommon. He's okay. If you don't have access to some of the other ones, he's okay. He's one of the better ones. I think that's the only people I really recommend. Bombshell can stun, I guess, but yeah. I guess Chimeras is okay too. He has a stun. Everybody else drawing a blank. He's okay too. This guy, because he has the healing and he dispels debuffs. He dispels the debuffs. That's pretty big, obvious. And then he's pretty tanky when you can reduce the damage taken by a lot. It's not that much, obviously, if you don't have him at max, but most people can get it to level 2. Now I want to talk about the video, and I'll get more in depth. Those are the honorable mentions. Those are the ones that come to mind, in my opinion. Now let's talk about some of the heavy hitters in this one. And I really don't want to talk about a lot of the ones that people really don't have like the ones that you can breed up, or they're not like super good. So when I was looking through them, some of the ones that caught my eye, obviously Fairy is good. Monster Healer, damage reduction, focus healing, healing for the whole team, can reduce crit, chance to reduce crit 20% of a fair amount. Good stats in my opinion. You know, fine, his defense is trash. He's not very fast, but with the healers, you want to take damage first and heal up. So him being a little bit slower really isn't that bad of a thing. You know, I don't want to talk about brands right now because you really got to get into, because there's different ways to do it for every dragon. There's better ways and some good ways and some debatable ways and some bad ways, but I won't get into the brands. But for what this guy offers on a team, and there's not a lot of like super good epic healers out there. I don't even think there's a lot of good legendary healers. Not too many. Like not how he does it, at least with the team, big heal, single target heal, all that. Boom. There's a lot of anti-heal legendaries out there, so you have to be careful. But good, he's good. He's really good. I still use him. Very good. Use him. Spend a fucking dollar and get him, $2 and get him. You know, core, I don't, fuck it, I'll do him. You know, this is my gripe for core. You know, you got this shield, so he has good stats. Speed, you know, if you got a legendary that can buff speed, Lasvik or Genie, you don't even give a fuck. Get the, you know, position 2 brand on him. I said I want to talk about brand. Get a speed brand on him. He's fine. He's fine. Crap ton of damage on the last ability. Big boy damage on the last ability. Big boy. And then he also has the shield. But it's based on your current self HP. So the lower you are, the weaker the shield becomes. So it's not consistent. If that was consistent, busted. He would be kind of busted. So developers kind of hit it on the head with what he can do, and then he can also reduce defense. Small chance, you probably won't go skiff on him. Good tank, good damage. Single target, no AoE, but, you know, let's say it's a guy that you need to protect on your team, but you happen to need that damage guy on your team, he ain't bad. You can protect another person and you can still do damage with him. Single target, but still do damage. So I'm going to put him on here. Core, oh, fuck it, he's good. He's good. I've used him, he's good. Maritza, man, this ability is slept on. It's strong as hell in a whole bunch of different reasons. It's based on your HP. So if you do it at the beginning of the game, you do 10%, 12%, depending on how much you got. You know, if it's 9, 10, whatever, you do minus 10%. You do 10% of their health right off the top. Everybody 10%. The tanks, you know, which 10% health means a lot more to a tank, obviously because they have more HP. Doesn't matter how much defense you have, you're always going to do 10%. And then it hits 3 times, you have a chance to taunt them. And because it's not really 15, the likelihood, the way the probability works, because I've taken enough courses to know, you know, you have multiple chances to hit this. So it's kind of like it's 15 per each time, but the probability of you getting it within 3 tries is higher than in 1 try for obvious reasons. So 15% is a solid amount, and because effective hit, you can put effective hit and make it more anyway. Solid. So now you got this tank that probably is going to have all skiv. When you hit somebody with skiv, you get stunned, you know, and they're forced to hit you. They can only use the first ability because they're stunned. So it takes, especially if it gets hit, you know, applied to a damage dealer, Nyx, somebody like that, or somebody that's going to stun you, solid. And then he can do single target stun with more probability, 30%. First ability is always usually negligible. Nothing really going on there. Solid all around stats for a legendary. weaker on the crit and attack, but that's not what he's meant to do. You know, he's meant to stun people and stun lock them and stuff like that. Do a little bit of damage at the beginning. Now, I wish he had a little bit more speed. I guess you should put speed. I think at the higher level, just put speed on everybody, but a little bit of speed on him so he can taunt first. It's probably a good thing. Boom. Aurita. Good. And I'm probably going to have to stay with the epics because I don't want this video to get too long. Who else comes to mind? I'm just going to say something about Innsmouth. The 20% damage increase is respectable on his third ability, period. Now, I think he could benefit from a little bit more damage, but as a support, just to get that 20% extra damage for some of your other people, it's okay. I won't call him necessarily good because he's, like I said, you got to build a team around him. So he's not inherently good on his own, but with certain teams, he's okay. Ruby, and you get him or her free. Ruby and Sapphire, Pokemon, probably Inspire. I like him just because of how Jamu works. I said I wouldn't talk about brands, but the Jamu, you have a chance to really do a lot of damage because the third ability hits 3 times, and then you have an after effect. Sometimes the after effect gets dispelled, but that's okay. Most people aren't running around thinking about defense. Everybody cares about damage. They don't care about the defense. I'd rather keep my dragons alive than, you know, do a fuck ton of damage because they'll die eventually. You want to protect what you got going on. And then he can reduce defense, so he can really focus on somebody. And then I like to do this first. If I'm going to hit the same target, reduce the defense first on the tank, usually, or the person I want to kill. Then come in with the big kill with the Jamu brand. If I crit big, chance to hit another big hit. Good damage. Better when buffed. If he can get buffed, these 2 abilities can go cool. Absolutely cool. You know, and I haven't used every single one, and I haven't gotten a lot of the other ones. I do want to mention Sword just a little bit, because I think Sword has some serious potential in theory, because he can increase his speed and attack and damage at the same time. Most dragons cannot do that. They can't buff themselves and do damage at this capacity at the same time. For 3 turns, there's a legendary, like, come on now, people. There's a legendary, you know, that, albeit he buffs the whole team, but it's not, you know, he buffs the whole team, but it's not for even 3 turns, you know. And this is a prime Sword is a squishy glass cannon, but he is a prime time damage dealer in theory. I don't have him. You can see it. I don't have him, but in theory, you know, he should do a lot of damage. And then this ability ain't nothing but damage, and it's on a 1 cooldown, so you'll be able to do it twice per skill cycle on this 3. That's damage. Single target. But man, it's damage. I think if you got somebody that can reduce the defense with that, man, like I say, these guys are better. You got to stop thinking about one person. When you get these guys on teams, sweet Lord Jesus, sweet Lord. I like him in theory. I don't have him, but in theory, he's good. And you know, I want to talk about somebody I think is slept on. I didn't kind of want to mention him, but I think I'm going to keep this real quick, 15 minutes. I'm trying, it's 14, 16, 15, 17. All right. This guy, he has you know, he has good speed, and his stats aren't as good. Like, speed isn't really everything when all your other stats are trash. But I just looked at the stats. You know, I didn't look at actually what he does. And what he does is pretty good. He dispels all the buffs on somebody. You know, and obviously he's not a support because, you know, he can't, you know, do it to everybody or anything like that. But you can really focus on a target, get the buffs off of them. Or This is on a one, skill. It only takes one turn to get the skill back. He can reduce defense. And I think because he's so fast, he's going to do that first, more likely than not. And to reduce a tank's defense or even a squishy sometimes, and now they're extra squishy. And it still does pretty good damage. Something to be said, he can reduce their defense on his first skill. This is a guarantee, and then this is 20%. I think that this guy, if you can keep him alive long enough, can really add value as a half support, half damage dealer type. I'm going to see if I can work with him. Because like I say, he's one of those guys that you need to protect. So I want to work with him to see what's possible. But just to recap, the epics that I think are the better ones. Fairy. Core, if you're into that type of thing. Sword. Aurita. Innsmouth with the right people. Ruby. Those guys on teams, I think, are strong. There's other ones that I'm probably missing, but in my opinion, those are the ones that have stood out to me. And I've played against pretty much everybody. Some people I haven't played against, like Burns and Gearing I haven't played against, but these other guys I have played against them, and they didn't seem special to me. But again, Fairy, Velociraptor, Sword, Core, probably missed Sword and Velociraptor. Aurita, Innsmouth, Ruby. Good. The other ones, not to say that they're trash, but they didn't stand out to me inherently or in combinations that I could think about. So hopefully this video gave you a sense of how good some of the epics are, and hopefully you can get some of these epics so you become a master dragon tamer.